Fellow tennis nerds, I hope you're well. There's so many different rackets coming out right now, but most of them are cosmetics. I do have a Ripstick 98 I'm gonna try. Members on Patreon and YouTube members get the first input on that. So if you're keen, please consider joining, even if it's only for a month. We have an R10 and some Percept Midnights, although that's the same racket pretty much. That's more of a revisit and some Pure Strikes as well. So lots of rackets in my tennis nerd headquarters and the jungle here. But the pros, they are going crazy. They're testing rackets all the time. No, not as bad. But some pros I talk to, they say that there is almost like a craziness going around a little bit. Players trying to find something extra. I noticed a lot of pros wanting a bit more power, mainly because of the balls. That's the complaint that you hear all the time. We've seen also some sponsorship changes, like Jack Draper now with Vori. That's a huge sign for them. They've had Jerome before. For example, I think also Carousel now is going to Vori. Fellow YouTuber Karu who's on the pod. And we have some other updates. Borna Coric, who is like a little bit up and down depending on his injury status. I mean, he can play top 10 tennis when he's on. But sometimes he just kind of disappears a bit. Lost his first match back, or the second match back from injury. He's now playing with the speed, Coric. I mean, he's been Yonex, he's been Wilson, and now head speed. And it does look like the newer mold, like the current mold. Does not look like the Sinner one that everybody wants to try. But I don't think there's any magic in Sinner's racket. I think it's how he plays with that racket. That is the thing. It's a good racket. It's a bit less powerful than the newer speeds that are thicker in beam, but it's still no magic in it. That's the TGT 301, as I talked about before. Khachanov is one of those players that play maybe the best tennis of his life, you would argue. I mean, he does have highlights here and there and really bumps up the rankings, but he usually hovers pretty steady player around the top 20, top 15, and he is trying the new Wilson line that's coming next year, as far as I know. And that's going to be snake inspired. An interesting competitor to other spin rackets. He's playing at 1820 though, not 1620 like some other players. So he has a different setup there. And he has a new string. He doesn't use a Wilson string for this one. I found that quite fascinating. On a reel that was shared, it says Stringergy. Stringergy is made in Germany, and in my guesstimation, it's made in like the Monofield Technique factory. So, new racket, Wilson racket, split spinner, a little bit more powerful, and a new black string, not from Wilson. We have another Wilson player, Sebastian Corda, with a blackout. What is it? I thought first maybe he's gone back to the blacked out Blade 98 1819 pattern he used for a while, but if you check the pattern, this is 1620s. Maybe he's just wrapped the overgrip high enough so you can't see if it's the spin throat. Maybe it is the kind of Khachanov racket that they're gonna release. But new racket for Corda, we'll see how he plays with it. Always fun to follow. A little bit of an update since I recorded this. Corda is in the semifinals in Winston-Salem, playing really well. Seems to really gel with the racket like Khachanov. And this line is exciting. And I'm actually testing the racket right now, and I also like it. So very curious to see what Wilson has cooked up their sleeves for 2026. We have Chris Eubanks, a Technifiber guy. Was seen testing the Aero earlier. He's in a testing mode. Now he's testing something else. I don't know what it is exactly. It's not an Aero throat. Something a bit different. So he's definitely testing, trying to find his game. When you're in this testing hell, as it can be referred to, because when you're a pro player and your muscle memory is so connected to one racket, you built your whole career around the racket, maybe. I'm just saying it could be that scenario. It's not easy to make a switch. You need time, you need patience, because those losses gonna hurt and gonna question everything. You sit there and it's the racket's fault, I'm not feeling the same. And to kind of rebuild a bit of confidence with a new racket is tough, because even if you win the first tournament with the racket, you have like a great breakthrough moment, you might still have a dip afterwards. And then you need to ride over that dip and keep trusting the racket, trusting the process. Whatever you're starting, you're going to have a bit of a bumpy road in the beginning, right? So that's usually what happens. So you're seeing pros testing new things. Doesn't always work out, super smoothly. Like with Bublik, for example. But he has had a pretty choppy road with rackets before that. So now with the Aero, it seems to be working out well for him. But we'll see. who knows? Maybe he will have a dip and switch to something else. And it's a bit of a crazy period around the US Open with rackets, mainly cosmetics. Aryna Sabalenka, also new cosmetic coming here with the Lioness Fire style, and looks cool from pictures, but it's gonna be her Blade 98, 1820, just a cosmetic. So like new cosmetics being launched left, right, and center. They're seeing, I guess, sales go up. People like to have their unique flair when they play tennis. They don't want to have maybe the same racket as everyone else, buy cosmetics. So there's a market for this. And then we have Jannik Sinner playing with the old speed, you know, speed cosmetics. So there are different takes. And also a side note, I don't know if I talked about this before. I think I have mentioned it. Carlos Alcaraz, he used to have a lot of throat weight. 5 grams was the reported number. And that seems to be gone. There's no weight added in the throat. And I think that makes sense. I'm not a big fan of throat weight. It's supposed to keep the equilibrium, like it keeps the balance and doesn't add much on the swing weight. It does make the racket move a bit slower through the air, in my opinion. And I feel like it can also be tougher on the wrist and the arm and the forearm when you have a lot of weight in the throat. Personal opinions, so keep that in mind if you're adding lots of weight on your rackets, which you shouldn't. You shouldn't add loads of weight. Start small and increase. And some additional gear observations thanks to anti-tan. Mackenzie McDonald used all the power in his E-Zone 98 that he's been testing recently. That was Cincinnati. Then now in Winston-Salem, he was playing with the Yonex hybrid. Looks a bit like the Kasparov one. Politor Spin crosses Politor Pro mains. So he's been testing something new. Luciano Darderi, he is testing shoes. He is taping over the logos of his Adidas shoes here and the Asics shoes here. So you can see some taped over logos. Quite interesting. Sorana Sirstea, she is using the new CT Rally 2 from New Balance. So that's what we have rolling on the tour. US Open time. Super exciting. Have a nice day now. And don't forget to play some tennis and check out tennisnerd.net for more tennis stuff every